Do you believe in love? How crazy it could be, baby, still take it easy. When you leave, I swear I can breathe. Do you really care, baby? Even wonder your own myself. You are my fantasy, my only desire. Take it as an angel, it's my necessity. You make me feel like darling, darling. If you touch me one more time, I might lose my mind. Baby, it's too much here. Can we go slowly? 'Cause I can't take it. 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 Give me your attention. 'Cause you got my affection. Baby, baby, invitation. Taking us step by step on the beat. Put your night hand in hand in the street. Sing it. You are my fantasy, my only desire. Take it as an angel, it's my necessity. You make me feel like darling, darling. If you touch me one more time, I might lose my mind. Baby, it's too much here. Can we go slowly? 'Cause I can't take it. 'Cause I can't take it. 'Cause I can't take it. I'm away. Cause I can't take it. Cause I can't take it. Cause I can't take it. Cause I can't take it.
Right. So let's do this. Hi. Hi. Muthiora, how are you? Hi, how are you? Nice to see you.
Well, it's a pleasure. I've been looking forward to this moment. I'm
Amazing.
glad our energy.
Yes, I can see the energy there now. Okay, so maybe we can start, but before even we start, how are you coping with the quarantine?
Well, one very positive thing about the secession movement beyond 7 p.m. is that I'm always home on time. That is before 7. That was never the case, but now it's possible. So, yeah, that's one thing I can write about.
Wow, amazing. So let me introduce the discussion tonight, and then we can move from there. So tonight we are having a conversation with Muthiora Kariara. Muthiora Kariara was the former deputy running mate. He was a running mate for Mr. Honorable Jeff Kaluyu. So basically tonight we are going to have a conversation about being on the big stage and his life and his challenges, his failures, as well as the role of the youth in this Kenya or in this Africa or even on the global stage. So that will be the pretty much of this discussion tonight. And Muthiora will be here to share his story as well as help us have this discussion tonight. So I want to say, if you want to join this conversation, it's very easy to join. There's a link on the comment box. You just click, takes you in, very easy, and then we can have this conversation together. So without wasting any time, Muthiora, so I would like maybe to you to introduce yourself. Before you introduce your, after you introduce yourself, and then I would like anyone who is joining, they introduce themselves. After that, I'll actually give you time to explain about yourself, about your life, about your failures and challenges. I understand, of course, also you can share about 2017, how that felt like, and now you can share what you are doing now. After that, we'll actually give opportunity to anyone who wants to ask you questions, and then you can help us have this conversation. So you can take it.
Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. I know we have people who are tuned in from everywhere across the world. My name is Muthiora Kariara. I am a Kenyan, passionate, basic, who believes. That is great. Right back, you can see the logo that says, and that's the Great Nation Party, a concept that came together with young people to believe the nation should be greater than.
I'm sorry, Muthiora. I'm sorry. I have to cut you. Sorry about that. I don't know if it's my network or your network, but I'm struggling to hear all some part of your conversation. Maybe I don't know. Is it the speaker or something? Maybe I want someone who is watching. Please confirm. Can you hear Muthiora Kariara? If you can, please just tell me. All right. So maybe can we try? I don't know if it's the speaker, because we want to capture sometimes it's very clear, of course, but we miss some words. I'm sorry about that, but continue and then we hear what's up.
Well, there was an echo. I hope it has now cleared out. You hear me better now?
It's better now. Continue.
Okay. I was telling you about Muthiora Kariara, a 2015 running mate, and we're here fighting COVID together. That's what loves sustained us back then, and we're looking beyond the pandemic. Before this session, I'll just tell you more about myself, about what my day has been, and
All right.
ahead.
I'm sorry, Muthiora, again, I have to cut you. I can get confirmation from Wekesa saying he cannot hear you. Is it better? Oh, okay, he's saying now it's better. Perfect. So now take it. Please start again. I'm sorry. Because it's the issue of the network. It happens sometimes.
Okay. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to everyone who is tuned into this live broadcast. Thank you very much, Patrick, for setting this up. It's always a pleasure to get an opportunity to connect with people who follow the work that we do. Often we get comments and encouragement that what we are doing has impact and so we should keep doing it. My name is Muthiora Kariara, party leader of the Great Nationhood of Kenya, a party that's going to be looking into how we can make Kenya great. Make Kenya a great nation. Kwa Kiswahili tunasema Kenya lazima litakuwa kuu vijana wa Kenya wakisimama kupigania. Kwa hiyo party mimi nitaanza hivyo tuendelee na mbele.
All right, amazing, good. I just want to confirm you ask him to use earphones. Okay, I think Muthiora, we have some issues. Do you have anywhere to have? Do you have earphones in any place? close to you?
Yeah, sure. I can make
Yeah.
that in a bit. We
Mm.
see how that.
Yeah, sure. We are getting suggestions from guys watching. They're saying you use earphones because I think maybe there's an issue with your sound. Just use your earphones. It's fine. All right. All right. So, Muthiora, are you there? So we'll try to solve this issue. After that, we'll continue. We wait him to come. But meanwhile, before he comes, maybe I want to bring you guys joining. Grace, nice to see you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So maybe you guys can introduce yourself. Okay. Okay, Grace left. So Sarah, can you introduce yourself and then you tell us? Okay, even Sarah left. I don't know. Maybe it's right. Grace, you're back. I'm sorry I had lost you. Can you introduce yourself as Muthiora comes back? Because we had some issues on his sound. We could not hear him well.
Yeah, I also think maybe there are some things which are on, like maybe another electric, which is like maybe another phone on, or maybe that's why there's such kind of like breaking. Because myself, I don't need earphones. I believe guys can hear me. So I think there's something in his room which is on, maybe. Yeah, but I am Grace. I'm from Kenya. I am studying in Italy. Yeah, so I just joined this conversation because I am a fan of Muthiora. I like what he does in Kenya, and I hope one day will be my president.
Yes, that's definitely. We want to have the youngest president ever in Kenya, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So how is Italy, Grace? You know, now I understand you're not in quarantine. Can you share a snippet before Muthiora comes? How you guys coping there?
Yeah, so at the moment we are not on a lockdown, but we were on a lockdown almost 2 months. So our lockdown was eased on the 4th of March or 4th of May, but still there are rules which we have to follow. Like when we go out, we need to put on a mask, and we have to keep like a distance, like 1 meter or 2 meters away from each person. And it is that strict. If you're not on a mask, you might find the police on your neck. Yeah, so besides that, okay, the schools have not gone back. We still study online. Um, okay, like most things, maybe they will start to open like next week. So there are a few places which are open, and well, like also we have a package from the government. Like there are some grants which are being given to categories of people, from students to people who are working. Yeah, so like they have different applications. So it's like they're trying to give them support to resume back to the normal way how Italy used to be before. But at the moment, we are in phase 2, and we don't know how long this phase 2 is going to last, because they say unless we find the cure or a vaccine, that's when we move to phase 3. And phase 3, maybe that's when now they can encourage traveling from, let's say, from Italy to Germany or another country in Europe before going international out of Europe. So maybe to tell you quickly what we are doing now is that we are
Grace?
we are allowed to travel within our region. There's a lot of noise.
Continue, Grace.
There is a lot of noise. Can you hear that?
It's let me okay. Just for I know we are waiting for Muthiora to come back, so I think it's his mic that has some issues. But just continue, Grace.
Okay.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
fix.
so like as much, yeah, so we are allowed to travel within the region, because in Italy we have main regions, and in Rome is in a region called Lazio. So within Lazio we can travel. go around. But if let's say from Kisumu, then that way it must be something very urgent. And that means when I come back, I need to go isolate myself for 7 days or go for quarantine for 14 days. And also going to the parks and gardens, public villas are allowed, but we have to keep distance like 1 meter. Also, sporting activities are allowed individually. And they say those people with the temperature which is around at 7.5 degrees, they are not supposed to go out. They are supposed to stay home. And if you have any respiratory symptoms, also you stay at home. So about the restaurants, people can go get food like take away, and also people can attend funerals up to 15 people, meaning the first degree and second degree. I mean, relatives. Yeah. And also we can say the manufacturing, construction, real estate, brokerage, wholesale, they resumed before we like before for like a week earlier. That's when the manufacturing industry, real estate started to work. So that's what we have at the moment. Yeah.
Good, amazing, good. Thank you, Grace. I hope I'm glad you're actually keeping safe. Yeah, good. So, Muthiora, are you okay now? Did you find your earphones?
Well, I was starting to enjoy Grace's story. I hope.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Now it's your turn. And it's gone.
It's good. The network is okay. Let's get Dennis. Dennis, introduce yourself and maybe where you are where I understand. I know where you are.
No, you know where I am, but to the audience, my name is Dennis Oseko. I'm in Kenya, Kisii. So thank you very much. I'd already read the topic or the debate that you were having today. You were hosting a politician who deputized a presidential candidate last time, and this is a topic. Or politics is I like politics, so I'm still waiting for him. But I do not really know if you know what else you wanted me to talk about, and if I'm at liberty to proceed, or I have to wait until you afford me that opportunity.
Yeah, you are at liberty. Great.
Yes.
What is the situation in Kisii? I'm from Kisii.
What kind of situation is it? A COVID-19 situation in Kisii?
Yes, yeah. You go out.
Yeah, people are living normal. People are taking things for granted. I mean, things are just normal. I was in town. I've been in town, and you know, everything is just normal. People are taking things for granted. You know, the problem with us is that people want to see a relative dying of COVID-19 so that they can begin taking this serious. Maybe any other reason as to why, or the other reason as to why people would be so careless the way they are behaving is because of economic, you know, effects. Because basically, most of the people are hustling. They live from hand to mouth. So by the end of the day, if they are not paid or they do not, they cannot afford to put food on the table, feed their families. So definitely they have to go out there and look for food. But people need to take this very serious. But as it is, people are even wearing masks because you know, the police are gonna arrest them. But even when they wear masks, they don't wear masks, you know, to cover their nose and mouth. They wear masks to cover their chin. So that is the situation in Kisii.
Wow, amazing.
Thank you.
All right. So when you come now, you understand the situation, Grace, but you have to self-quarantine for some time. All right. So so maybe I want everyone to introduce themselves. Kevin, we are waiting for you to join, so you can join. So you guys introduce. Maybe I go to Ekesa since Dennis has introduced himself, and then Sarah, and then we give the platform to Muthiora to continue. So maybe a quick introduction, Ekesa.
Yeah, my name is Wekesa Eric. I am a specialist in sales and marketing. I'm also a political activist.
Glad you confirmed that. All right. So, Sarah, if you can hear me, you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Sarah Kathuri. I'm currently in Kenya. I'm a businesswoman and a midwife by profession. And I'm glad to join you today. I'll be glad to hear everything that we're going to table.
All right, wonderful, amazing. So tonight I want to confirm that we will have so many guys joining, maybe that wants to ask Muthiora questions. So I'll be picking guys, bringing guys, just keep you on the backstage maybe as the conversation goes. Now, Muthiora, I would like you to continue with your story. I'm really sorry, you'll have again, maybe to start to some point, not everywhere, but to some point you can start.
Okay, perhaps you could tell me if you can hear me better now.
Yeah, perfect now.
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us this evening. It's always a pleasure to have an opportunity to connect with young, vibrant people who are believers in a world that's better than that which they found themselves. Grace, thank you for making time for us. Wekesa, I've been hearing about you. I finally get to see your face and connect your voice and the face too.
Okay.
Well, I'm a politician and I'm glad that you're here now that it's really hot when it comes to the politics in Kenya. It appears as if the pandemic we are dealing with is no longer a problem. The only problem we have now is succession politics. And well, I ventured into this space because I believe that Kenya deserves better. It deserves leaders who are selfless, people who are willing to go all out just to make sure that the common folk is able to access the services that guarantee them a quality of life that's humane. So my name is Muthiora Kariara, a former running mate. That was in 2017. I ran together with Dr. Jeff Kaluyu. We did the first election that was nullified in that historic ruling by Kenya's Supreme Court. And then we went for the other election that happened in October the 26th, which was later confirmed and put the Jubilee government in office, the government that today is in charge of handling the pandemic that's threatening our way of life here. Currently, I'm the party leader for the Great Nationhood Party of Kenya, TGN, and we're roaring to go. We're roaring to make a difference, to make Kenya a great nation. Yes, Patrick.
Amazing. Thank you very much for that introduction. So now I want maybe Muthiora to go to the details of how maybe it feels even now, maybe running that party, and also how it feels to be on a big stage where we are looking up to you, maybe to deliver to some point. How does that maybe encourage young people? And maybe you after that, we can go to the details of your life, maybe personal life, if you're okay to share it.
Well, it's no secret. Being a young person in Kenya is one of the many ways to die. So I'll tell you, it's not easy trying to do anything that's different from what everyone else is doing when you're young. We came up with the idea of instituting a party because we realized that our voices were being muffled in those other bigger parties. A young person has very good ideas, but then they will never get to the table where they are discussed and eventually implemented so they can make a difference for the other young Kenyans out there. So we decided to make a platform where we are no longer the menu as it has been, but then the people around the table who get to discuss what their future is going to be like. And that's how the idea of TGM came about. And we are glad that since we got our papers from the registrar of political parties, we've received very positive response from Kenyans. In fact, most of them were asking, when was this going to happen? So I'm glad that young people and Kenyans at large are receptive of our party and of what our ideologies are. And it's just a matter of time. We overcome this pandemic and then we get into business proper of reinventing and reimagining Kenya, because we cannot continue as we have since independence. There are promises that were made to the Kenyan people. They were never fulfilled. Yet our nation has so much capacity, so much to give, but we always fall short. Now,
Right.
it's on that basis that we're here, and I'm glad that in this gathering today, we have just young people, the people before us, the people who set Kenya up for failure, I guess are already sleeping, and that's why we must keep hoping, we must keep working, because we have to deliver the Kenyan promise to the Kenyan people, for us and for the generations to come.
Amazing. Thank you very much for that, Muthiora. Now, Muthiora, can you maybe go to the details? How did you grow up? Did you grow up in a normal family, in a normal life? Where did you go to school? How was it?
Well, I'm a very kawa person, if you can use the Kenyan slang. I was born in rural Kenya, grew up around other kids. At some point, we had to go to school without shoes just to fit in, because that's how life was back then, where the kids had no problem going to school in torn shorts, no shoes. And our brilliance just shone from then on, because we had to devise ways to survive, ways to get around things. And that was down in Migori County, Kuria, to be specific, a place called Isebania. Lovely people. They are the reason I'm the kind of a person that I am today. They taught me how to work hard, how to respect people, how to coexist with others, but most importantly, to dream big. And when opportunities come, you have to grab them. You have to give it your all, because everything we do is preordained. God has a purpose as to why he put you wherever you are, and that has been my rallying call. That's what has always informed me to give my best wherever I find myself. So it's a Bania. That's where I started my life. Went to Nyabohanse Boys Boarding, where I did my primary, and then went to Kanga High School, the best school anywhere in the world. And for 4 years, I met some very, very brilliant Kenyans who today are doing amazing things with their lives, impacting this nation in industry, in business. Wherever it is that you go, you'll find a Kanga High School boy. So yeah, that explains part of my upbringing. After Kanga High School, I had the honor to attend University of Nairobi, Chiromo campus, where I studied BSc Mathematics. And when it came to majors, I ventured into operations research, which is otherwise called the science of better. That kind of science that teaches you how, from many alternatives, to choose the best alternative. I have also studied Masters of Business Administration. I've been a candidate in the Chartered Financial Analyst program. I started out as a banker with Consolidated Bank, and then moved to custody and registrar, C&R. And then on the side, I have always been an entrepreneur. Did farming, started with pigs, and then went into dairy farming, and then got into real estate. And that has been my kind of life. I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere, doing whatever it is that can help to move the ball forward. That's basically my story in a nutshell. And today, right now, I'm speaking to you from Kawangware. This is where I live. lovely people here. The pandemic has hit us more than it has hit other parts of Kenya, but we are coping. We're doing well, and we believe we'll defeat this.
Wow, that's an amazing story. I think the story about you are a pig farmer and also dairy farmer, and you moved to maybe real estate resonates a lot to young people who maybe are in that landscape. But maybe now I want maybe to start this conversation in terms of now getting questions from the panel. But I want maybe to guide, I'll start with the topic. Maybe we can start with the topic about opportunities. Maybe first, I would like you guys asking questions about opportunities and specifically in the topic about youth opportunities, all right? So maybe we can start ladies first. So I'll start with Sarah, and then I can go to Grace, and then I'll move with the rest. All right, so let's start.
So you start with me?
Yes.
Oh, great. Muthiora, I would like to know how you intend to give equity to women. Am I clear?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, you are. I got that, and I'll tell you. At TGN, that's the Great Nationhood Party, we have made deliberate effort to make sure that we are all inclusive. As a matter of fact, and I'll be sharing more details. In fact, right now, anyone who's watching us can go to www.tgn.co.ke. That's our website. You'll see that in our constitution, we have a requirement that in our leadership structure for every position, we will have an opposite gender. As in, if the party leader like me, who is male, there'll be a female who will be deputizing me. The chairperson, in my case, for our party, is female. And so her assistant will be male. Now, we have decided to set up that structure because we acknowledge the fact that you cannot move forward when you're leaving half of the population out of the job. We know that women are the backbone of our economy in Kenya. They are the people who do the most work. And for us to achieve whatever aspirations we have for this nation, we know we have to onboard them. And that's why we're very deliberate about having women at the core of our leadership. So join me, join TGN, work with us, and we will deliver Kenya from a point where we've pushed women to only ask for a third representation in leadership. Here, we want to have a 50-50 kind of an arrangement because we acknowledge their contribution to this nation.
Right, great. Maybe Sarah, you have another question? Or?
No, actually, I'm just very big because of my profession. I work a lot with women, and most of the things that make me concentrate on how women are treated is because most of inequalities are systematically put. Like, we have needs that men are not acquainted to, and this is something that I would love to work with Muthiora. I will not ask you to work alone. Work with me and so many other women to be able to bring your structure into place to address issues that hit our cores from when a woman is right in kindergarten all the way to when she's in her senior year. So maybe I can say that for now, and I'm willing to work with you as much as you need me.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Good. So we can move to Grace. Grace?
Yeah, thank you for giving me this chance. First, I want to make a few remarks on what Muthiora said. I really appreciate that you came up with this party, and I have to declare, when I come back to Kenya, I'm coming to join your party. Second,
TGN,
yeah, I'm serious. Why do I say this? First, when I was in Kenya before I moved abroad, if many people saw me, I was part of the Labour Party of Kenya, the political party of Julio Jambo. But if you don't know why I was there, it's because before I was in ODM like in 2013, but I saw there was no opportunity for me to drive or to learn something about politics. So that's why I decided to go to a small political party, and that way I did got to learn a lot. And something interesting is that you see those youth leaders who are for these political parties, whether it's Jubilee, ODM, these parties, they are youth wings. I could also be there as a youth leader from a labor part of Kenya. So for me, when I was Kenya, I was very strategic, so that I also get to learn something rather than like you see when like for instance ODM was a big political party, I couldn't get an opportunity. So I needed a party where I can also get to learn something. So for me, when I return back to Kenya, I will also join this team. And lastly, what I have to say now is about my question. So with this COVID-19, Muthiora, going forward, what can you recommend to young people to concentrate on? Can you recommend agriculture or technology? Like, what do you think most young people should be looking forward? Because I see you have a lot of experience. If it is agriculture, you have. If it is related, you have. Money, banking, like you have all these experience. So from what you have seen now and going forward, what do you think young people can concentrate on so that we don't be caught off guard maybe in the next 10 years or 5 years again in case COVID-19 or something related comes? That's my question to you.
All right.
Thank you.
It's opportunity. So it's opportunity still. We'll get to health. All right. Continue.
Thank you very much, Grace. And I would like to thank you for your support so far. And you're very daring. I remember from the days when you are at the University of Nairobi, you're very active trying to make sure that the youth are represented in those spaces, even though we did not have a lot of room. So keep going. That's the way to go. Now, there is a statement or a mantra that the Kikuyu are famous for, which goes something like "Kuoya kuoya." Kuoya kuoya means as in you just grab whatever it is that you can, ask questions later. And that kuoya kuoya policy is what I would urge every young Kenyan to adopt. Opportunities will knock at your door. Sometimes you may feel unprepared, but then do not hesitate to seize that opportunity when it knocks at your door. Seize it and then figure out how to make it work for you. Make it count. Now, about COVID and how we can thrive, I've basically tried my hand in almost every field. Lately, if you've been following me, you must have seen me run a workout program where every day at 7 p.m. all the way till 8 p.m. East African time, I get people to work out online. We improvise and use whatever little space we've got in our living room and break that sweat. Now, this could be a business opportunity for someone out there who does not have a job. Harnessing technology to service a need that people have out there. So I would like to urge young people to think critically as to how they can solve people's problems. Yes, the environment is going to be different because COVID has presented us with a totally new setup. But then therein lies opportunity. Be willing to seize it. Be willing to learn. Be willing to unlearn. Be willing to relearn that which you thought you knew. Be teachable. Be like water. Fit into whatever space where you find yourself. Assume that shape and be comfortable. The time to whine and complain about us not having opportunity is gone. The future we were told that belongs to the young is here with us today. And gladly, technology has helped us jump through a lot of hoops that would have had to go through. So do not wait for another day. The day is here with us. right now, like I'm addressing thousands of people through this platform, you too can. You can sell your products, you can sell your services, you can provide solutions to people out there through technology. If the president wanted to address Kenyans today, he would use this kind of a platform. I have that, and you do too. So do not wait for someone to lay it all for you. Seize that which is knocking at your door. Be attentive. Opportunity lacks. What you do with it, that's what God will bless and increase.
Awesome, amazing. Thank you very much for that insightful answer to Grace. Huh? So I want to move. Maybe we'll get to technology. Kevin is a tech person. He's in the studio, but I'll bring you, Kevin. So let's go to Dennis. Dennis, you can ask your question. In terms
I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's pleasure to meet Mr. Muthiora Kariara. Is it Kariara? All right. I heard of him last time when he was contesting alongside his presidential candidate. Is he Kaluyu?
Dr. Kaluyu.
Professor somebody. Yeah. The reason I have forgotten you, and that is an issue that I wanted to talk of, is that you showed up during the election period and you disappeared. We've not been able to hear about you. I wouldn't really say it is the reason could be that you do not have a platform. You have a platform like the one that you have at the moment that I've got to be reminded of you and the person that I knew or that I got to know during the election period. So I want to say I'm also a politician. I tried, though at a low level, to be an MCA, but I did not make it. But I accumulated a lot of understanding on how Kenyan politics work. I do understand there are a lot of challenges, of course, to us, the young people, because our people, due to their vulnerability, need people that have already made money. They need to be bribed. They need to be given handouts and such kind of things. So if you're not that kind of person who can afford to give handouts, it will really take you longer. And sometimes it may require you to align yourself with certain political figures to be nominated or to be favored in one way or the other so that you can get to the political limelight. But listening to you, you are full of content, you are full of positivity, and I just want to encourage you not to disappear like you did, because you've not been inherent in our midst. And me, I just thought for lack of a better word, I've seen a lot of people do politics as comedy. So there are people that I can refer to as political comedians. They just show up during that season and then they disappear. So I don't mean to say you're one. So kindly, I would like to know where you've been, what you've been doing, and what plan do you have going forward. If the prof you were deputizing last time does not contest, what is the way forward? And number two, I just want to, listening to you, you said you were at Kanga and all that, but along the way, I did not really get to comprehend. After Kanga and after doing your personal business and whatever you've been doing for a living, what have you been doing for the people? Would it not be proper if you started, small, and then you grow towards where you are or you wanted to be in the previous election? Because if you started, for instance, being a member of parliament, being a senator, being a governor, and articulating issues of your people, the Korea people, your community, so that from there you can have a platform, because I do believe in politics, charity begins at home. Now that you went to national politics, did you have the blessings of your people, the people who know you better, the people who saw you, or the people that you grew up from childhood up to now? So that one I don't know. I'd love to know more about you, but basically I'd love to know what you've been up to, what you've been doing, what you've been involved in, besides personal business. What have you been doing for the people, and what plan do you have, going forward towards 2022 and beyond? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great questions. Muthiora, you can go ahead.
Well, Dennis, I appreciate your input, and I like that you have made a remark with regard to me explaining what it is that I have done for the people. Let me correct you that my people are your people, the Kenyan people. So whatever it is that I do impacts people in Turkana, impacts people in Mombasa, in Kuria, in Nairobi. Now, something I did not mention is through my youthful years, I was a sportsman. I played soccer besides holding different youth positions. And as I played soccer, my main goal then was to inspire young people to use their talents to bring change into their communities. I debuted in the Premier League with Kawangware Sports Club, Kawangware United. If you've been to Dagoretti, you'd know of a team by that name. And we played from the low tier leagues all the way to the Premier League. And our main goal then, and that's almost 20 years ago, was to get young people to stop abusing drugs, to stop getting involved in crime because crime does not pay, to focus on education. And over the 20-year journey that I've been interacting with these people, now that I do not play competitively, but if you were following the discussion we've had, I've told you that to date, I still run fitness programs where I encourage people to work out, to spend their time constructively, to do something to boost their health. So my kind of philosophy is that where you look to equip someone to be able to fish and not give them fish per se. I'm big on engaging people directly so I can inspire them to do better for themselves. I'm big on information. I'm big on knowledge. If you visit our website, you'll see this well articulated. You visit my page, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Muthiora Kariara, you'll see that on every single day, I go out there and I try to touch someone's life, because I know if I get through to someone successfully, just one person, the multiplier effect from that will be huge. And that's what I've been doing. You come to where I live and engage people on a daily basis, Dagoretti North constituency, you'll confirm what I'm telling you. So yes, I ran for president in 2017, but ended up on the ballot as a running mate. I chose that platform because looking at Kenya, I saw that the only position that could fix the problems that plague this nation, the instruments and the tools that you need are best provided by the office of the president. Yes, I could have run for MCA, but that could have meant changing only a section of Kenya. What we need is a radical break from status quo. We need a new way of doing things. There are a lot of qualified, competent people who run for these offices that we say are at the lower level. But where we lack courage and dedication is at the higher echelons, which is where I thought perhaps we need to demystify these positions. We need to get the right people to imagine that they can occupy them. And so besides just going for that office, I was looking to inspire other people who are very good leaders in other sectors of our economy to come into the political sphere and give back to this nation. Now, on to the question you asked about where I have been. Well, I've been around. In 2017, I was an independent candidate, but then over time, like I articulated, we've been working on building a political party so that come the next election cycle, we will have a platform where MCAs, members of parliament, senators, governors can run. And that is the TGN platform, the Great Nationhood Party of Kenya platform. And to come as far as we have, someone will tell you, it has taken a lot of effort. It has taken a lot of consultation. It has taken a lot of work on the ground. And I'm glad that finally we have this vehicle. Now, besides that, you may recall, now this is just one of the landmark things that perhaps I have done within the last 6 months. There was this ferry accident where a mom and a daughter drowned, and the government was taking too long to take the right action. I, together with others, cycled from Nairobi, urging the government to take decisive action to make sure that they went into the Indian Ocean and retrieved the bodies and made the changes we need in the way that the ferries are run so that such an accident does not occur again. That was last year. You remember we had the VAT on fuel that was suggested to be set at 16%. And thanks to a number of us getting into that space, that never came to be. Back then, I remember us cycling all the way from here to Ethiopia, where the price of oil then was costing almost half of what our prices would be here. Now, these are just some of the national things that I have been engaged in, trying to get people not to just take it because it's thrown to them by the government. Now, besides that, you may remember the very famous campaign we did that was dubbed Beyond Zero. We had rampant corruption since this government took office. They have borrowed to steal. And people had just given up. People had accepted that this is the way that things are going to be. But then we decided that this is untenable. And we got together, and under that banner of Beyond Zero Corruption,
okay,
we got the government to crack whip on government offices who have been implicated. And due to the pressure that we were exerting together with other Kenyans who are like-minded, people started stepping aside. The president started changing officers, and you can see the changes that have come so far. Even though they have not yielded the results that we desire, we have progressed,
okay,
at least better than we could have fared if we just sat there and did nothing.
Thank you very much for that articulation. No? There's so many questions in the studio, so I'll leave the resident panelists to stay on the screen, but I'll be moving maybe one person and then I bring another one. So so far the guys who are on the screen will stay, but maybe I'll be and out, right? I think that's okay, right? So maybe we go to Wekesa, and then after you, Wekesa, I'll go to Kevin.
And
Kevin,
then you will still come back to me because I feel there is something you did not respond appropriately.
Maybe you can, it's
okay.
Fine. You can continue. You can ask. Maybe.
Yeah. So I just want to ask a quick one so that you can proceed to the other panelists that are present here today. I've listened to him on issues checking on government activism mostly, but I would love to hear something to do with empowering fellow youth for self-reliance and sustainability. I would love to hear that. And then being around, of course, he's been here. That is why he's here physically. But I've not heard him talk about issues of national importance. And he got the platform because, like Facebook or whatever platform we are using at the moment, now, you know, before you brought him here to this show or before he came to this show, I've not heard about him. I had even forgotten about him. So that means he's been mute on very important issues that are affecting the youth of this country. And therefore, going forward, mine is just an encouragement that he needs to pronounce himself, you know, more on the issues that are affecting us as youth and Kenyan population, because his scope of politics is for the entire country. He talks of Dagoretti. Dagoretti is a constituency. And when he was running for presidency, he was running to, you know, articulate issues that affect every youth in this country. Like, I mean, Kisi. I mean, people don't know him here. People don't know him. But maybe going forward, I would love to partner with him also in this area so that at least people can get to know him. And, you know, there is this aspect of running for a political seat for the sake of it. But there is also running with an intention of winning. So to me, my brother here, I do not really comprehend whether he's running for the seat to win or he's just running for the sake of it. But otherwise, I wish you well. Maybe you will respond to that. But thank you so much. I'm sorry for taking a little bit longer. Yeah.
It's good, Muthiora, that he confirmed he's willing to join you. You can proceed.
That's very positive. And Dennis, you can be sure I'll be looking for you after this show because I realize we can work together. Now, obviously, I would wish to be everywhere, but then due to the challenges that exist, which is, for instance, that I do not have an official office, then sometimes it's a little complicated when it comes to dealing with issues. But then I have been vocal on things that matter. Talk about corruption. I have spent a lot of energy and time trying to address how we can combat this. You go to my YouTube channel, that is at Muthiora Kariara, you'll see that at least every fortnight I have appeared in the major TV channels doing battle for Kenya with regard to matters governance, matters corruption, matters youth. Obviously, I need to do better. I need to do more. And I promise that I will. Right now, we are a little curtailed by the pandemic that we are combating. But as soon as we are over it, I can assure you that I'll go out there, I'll look for people like you so that the fire we started in 2017 burns even more strongly. That's a commitment I make to you right now.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Muthiora. So let's, I hope now that's satisfactory. Dennis is going to look for you. All right. So Wekesa, let's move to Wekesa, the topic opportunities. Wekesa, can you unmute your mic?
Oh, thank you. I've listened to you, Muthiora, and I think you are one passionate guy. Yeah? And
thank you.
Maybe what I just want to say is that Kwame Nkrumah once said, seek ye first the political kingdom, and everything else will be added to you. I don't know what is the strategy of your party, because there are so many concerns, even as my brother has raised. What we understand in Kenya, there are quite a number of political parties which are briefcase parties. They are briefcase parties in a way that they don't have any membership, and most of the time are used for political brokerage. That is such, if somebody wants a political party, he can get. So I will want to exactly understand, are you you have met a political party for business such that you can do brokerage, or two, you are interested into capturing, seeking the political kingdom of Kenya. And I want to fault you on strategy, not because of anything else, but I want you to think about it. Huh?
Sure.
If you started small and focused, they say all politics are local. And that's why when you come in this media and you get a media show, the problem is everybody will ask, they will, when you are a presidential candidate, they expect you to have solutions concerning the whole nation. But if you are a youth and you say, I want to make a political statement, and maybe I want to run as an MCA and show an impact even to the youth, that indeed youth can run this country and they can ask even for more space, they can gain more territories, it's good. So in terms of strategy, it affects you, because I've seen most people who just stand up and run for presidency, and when they fail, they disappear. They disappear because they did not, okay, some of them started with small resources and they depleted all their resources and disappear. Now they are just back home. But if this person ran for MCA and then build his political muscle, next time he runs for MP, build his political muscle. Did you know that Obama ran for congressman and failed? But he didn't give up. Then he went and then won, and then went for Senate. Then he went for presidency. In other words, you can have high ambitions, but you need a strategy in articulating them. Remember also, ambitions can kill a man. They destroy people. Ambitions have destroyed many people. They can break your back and you will never surface. So I want you to think about it in terms of strategy, just as you can put a small, it's called what, in a duff, and then it spreads. That's how we grow in terms of ideas. From a small corner, we generate our ideas and then we grow. Part of the political realities we have is culture, that our politics are controlled by money. So I want you to address that. How are you going to break through in the politics which are controlled by money? One, you are a youth, you are not known. Two, you are a youth, you don't have the resources, but yet you want to come to the top. I want you to address those few concerns first. The others we will capture as we continue.
So thank you very much. Muthiora, you can proceed.
Well, first and foremost, TGN is not a briefcase party. TGN is a national party, and we're going to prove that very soon. It's going to get to an office near you, and you will see it impact that community in a very short time. Now, thank you for pointing out about how I should formulate a strategy that will work. And I appreciate that you've taken your time to think it through. But then imagine this, for the longest time, Kenya has not had a party that is youth-led. TGN is a youth-led party. I was answering a question with regard to how we're going to empower women, and I have told you that we have taken deliberate steps to ensure that inclusion is embraced from the very point at which we engage. Now, tell me if this is not a win, that for once in the history of this nation, we have a youth-led party, and not just youth-led. It has visionary young people who imagine a future where this nation is great to the extent that it delivers the promise that was given to the founding fathers and mothers of this nation. Now, I agree with you. Accumulating experience as one moves from a lower position to an intermediate and then to the higher position is a good thing. But then, should we sit back and say, let experience rule the day, when we know that political experience in this Kenya means looting public resources, means nepotism, means tribalism, means dividing this nation further than it has ever been divided. With every election cycle, this nation disintegrates. Do you want to be part of those who sat back and said, we will accumulate experience, and then when we have had enough, then we will come and start to galvanize that experience to work for this nation? I suppose we won't have a nation if we take that approach. Kenya needs healing today. Kenya needs fixing today. If you would take my vision, interrogate my character, and then look at the people who have offered themselves in the past, I can assure you, if you are voting based on what one can deliver, based on what has been presented to you, I would fare fine if you're not looking at the other qualifications that Kenya look at. Are you from my tribe? Are you moneyed? Have you been in the political scene longer than that other person? If we get all those things off the way and we just focus on someone who has the right vision, has the right character, the right temperament, believe me, I feel qualified enough. Look at the tasks that I was trying to outline that I have been able to achieve given the challenges that I have gone through, and use those to judge whether I would be able to handle a bigger task. And I can tell you, I was born ready. And that's why I know if more young people like you and me stand up, we'll make Kenya great.
Great. Thank you very much, Muthiora, for addressing that. Amazing. So I want to bring Kevin, and then I'll move to Aboka. So Kevin, maybe now you can ask your question. I'm sorry, you have been in the backstage. And also I'll be bringing Sarah back soon. Okay, continue.
Thank you, Patrick, and thank you, Mheshimiwa, for talking to us tonight. I have some memorable things about you from the 2017 elections when you said, I got your back. We still remember that. I think as a young person, I identify with you more than I can identify with other politicians in Kenya right now. So you have our support, and we encourage you to continue with this. So I have a few questions. You coming from a minority community that is Korea, and of course, as a youth, I would like to think that the youth is also some kind of a minority in politics. What is the plan that you have of making sure that the youth and probably people from minority communities like Korea can actually compete on the national stage, and we have some assurances that we can actually clinch the seats and lead the country? That is one. The other thing is, from a technology point of view, if you become president today, will you be willing to accelerate technology industry? And by that, I want to give an example. Rwanda and their president, Paul Kagame, is not a youth, but your next smartphone might be made in Rwanda because they already have a factory that is producing smartphones. That is the only one I know about in Africa. Can we implement a similar thing in Kenya? And then there is this question of strategy and how you need to apply some strategy when running for a big office like the president. And I think Wekesa mentioned something about President Barack Obama starting off running for Congress and failing. And then I remembered watching an interview where somebody asked President Obama how it feels like to be president of, a powerful president in the world. And I remember him answering the question and saying, when you want to do something good for your community, you start small in the community, and then you realize you don't have enough power. You look at the people who are around you, and you feel like this is not working. And then you say, now let me run for county assembly. And then you look at the people around you in the county assembly, they are all the same. This is how politics is. This was Barack Obama explaining. So you say, okay, let me go for parliament position. You go to parliament, you see them on TV every day. They're just like kids. I mean, it's crazy. Then you say, now let me go for Senate. And then you join the Senate, and I will not talk about that because we are experiencing what's happening in the Senate right now in Kenya. And you're like, oh man, this is crazy. Let me join the Council of Governors and become a governor, and it's just the same people are there. And then you become president, and then you go to the G20 summit and you meet presidents from other countries, and you're like, they are the same people. So leadership is something else. And if you decided to run for president, I support you fully. I don't think you need to start small, but you need to have that way of thinking of everything that goes around, from the small levels going up, and then just keep the big picture in mind. And I think that is just great. So thank you so much.
Wow, amazing. Many questions. You can address that, Muthiora.
Thank you, Kevin. Now, that's the way I want young people to think, that yes, it's doable, and it's upon us to dream big, because we can be big and we can deliver big. About technology, I'll tell you that during Kibaki's regime, there was a plan for Kenya to be a mobile phone manufacturer, and everything was put into action. It's just the implementation that never came to be, because those wheeler dealers needed a cut, and when that did not come through, cold water was poured on that project, and we never became a mobile phone manufacturer then. So Rwanda beat us to the tape. That, of course, does not speak to our capability to be a manufacturer in that industry. We have the capacity, we have the expertise. We can source whatever we do not have, given the kind of arrangements we have with other nations. What we have lacked is leadership. Priorities have been wrong. Like today, we've seen the fielding in the Senate when we are right in the midst of dealing with the pandemic. That speaks to the kind of leadership we have. And I can assure you, given my journey, I'm not the kind of a leader who loses sight of the goal. I'm a goalkeeper. And they say once a goalkeeper, you're always a goalkeeper. You're the last man in that defense. So any mistake gets your team to concede. Now, given that kind of a training, I know I must always have my sight firmly set on what the goal is. And the goal for Kenya, number one, is to fight and defeat poverty. And the best way to do that is through harnessing technology, because that's where we have the biggest opportunity to employ the Kenyan youth and take care of that youth bulge that's going to be a threat very soon. So I can assure you, if we work together, we share ideas, we go out there and challenge others to think beyond the ordinary, to put the proverbial box aside and seek to provide solutions, we will make Kenya great.
Amazing.
I have no doubt that Kenya can be great. Now, there is something else. If I got you right, let me get these perfectly. Okay, I'll get on, I'll respond to it. But basically, what I can assure you is there are young people out there who are better than myself. What they have lacked is a platform. I will not rest until they have that platform. I will not rest until those ideas are put at the table where the decisions are made. And thankfully, I have that youthful energy within me, and I interact directly with the people who face the wrath when we have the wrong policy. So let's just keep working together. Let's keep believing we can win. We just need to seize the opportunities that we have day by day.
Okay, thank you very much, Muthiora. So I want to move to Abok. Abok, please ask your question. The topic is opportunities. And then we go to Alphonse, and then I'll bring back Sarah after we move to health.
Okay, thank you so much, Patrick. Sorry I joined very late when the guest had already done introduction. My name is Abok Mheshimiwa Muthiora. I'm happy to see you. I'm happy to see you and listen to you. Indeed, you are amongst the bright stars in the youthful population that we have. You represent many, and therefore I just want to congratulate you. Even after 3 to 4 years, I think my congratulations is still valid, even for that very bold step. So
very valid.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. My question is coming from the background of agriculture, and I've heard you talking about so many things, beautiful things, and maybe I missed it, and if I missed it, kindly you'll forgive me for taking you back. But if I didn't miss, then it is the right time. In Kenya and even in Africa, agriculture accounts for 30% of the formal employment and around 27% of employment indirectly. My question is very, very simple. We are faced with an unemployment crisis, and majority of the victims are youth or youthful population, which you largely represent by your ideas and your policies and your strategies. I would want to know maybe what are your strategy or policy regarding youth empowerment and employment creation, and to the country Kenya as a whole. What are some of these specific policies that you have that would make or promote agriculture even to the next level? Because we all know it is still the backbone of our economy. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you, Abok. Well, agriculture remains a very, very important thing to me because that's where I began. I've been a farmer myself, and I know the potential there are in. The challenge has always been connecting the farmer to the market. That connection has been broken by people who do not do anything with regard to farming, but then they insert themselves therein and profit from the sweat of those who do all the work. People have called them cartels, but then I know these are just thugs. These are thieves. These are robbers who benefit from the sweat of others. The problem we've had in this nation is we have leaders who have been in the system too long that they got assimilated by these so-called cartels to a point where they owe them allegiance. If you want for farm inputs to reach the farmer at a cost that will ensure that the farmer continues to reap from his work, then you have to eliminate the middlemen. And the only way to do that is to sweep with a new broom. We need a shift from the old form of leadership. The cartels we talk about are people with faces, with names. We need to call them out. We need to eliminate them. And the best way to do that is to clean house. So if you and I worked together and we provided a platform for young, new, fresh thinking leaders, then we can start to utilize whatever the reports that lie in shelves somewhere say we should do. If we have people who mean well in office, believe me, the job is half done. We have to fight corruption. And the only way to fight corruption is to have no mercy. And the way to have no mercy is if you know you have nothing to hide because you've not been involved. So when you hit at someone, they won't have anything to hit back at you. We need to inculcate values in our children. Have a long-term view that these values, as these children grow through the school system, they will come and find an environment that has been sanitized. And so it's going to be a reaction thing that I can't do that because that's not how I was brought up. So it's too, we do the cleaning today, and then we invest in our education system to yield people who uphold integrity from all spheres. Agriculture is where we need to go. The statistics you've provided, we need to better that. You can imagine today, Kenya produces just a third of the coffee that we used to produce in the 70s. And yet the world craves for Kenyan coffee. I don't want to go into cotton or tea or these other cash crops that people have abandoned. The only way to do that is to bring humanity back into agriculture. And that's by taking care of the farmer, by eliminating the cartels. The cartels are criminals. They need to be eliminated. Those who blatantly break the rules that are set because we have laws and rules need to go to prison. And we don't have to apologize for doing that. Let's just clean the whole house. Sorry, I'm sounding like we're already campaigning, but then that's what we need to do. If we did not have the leaders we have today, Senate today could have been discussing about how they are going to take care of the people who cannot feed themselves because of this pandemic. But because we have this old way of thinking, thanks to the kind of leadership we have, then these problems will always persist.
Right. Thank you very much, Muthiora, for that. I want to move to Alphonce, and then I'll bring in
Patrick.
It's okay.
I asked Mheshimiwa specific questions, and he has decided to answer me as a politician, which is okay. I just wanted specific solutions, especially to the solution to the unemployment that we're having. And when you talk about middlemen, it is an issue which you have pointed out, which is very true. But again, you've just addressed it in an abstract manner, meaning nothing specific. I just wanted something specific from your whole manifesto. It's something towards that direction, because I believe that we, just like you said, we should not wait till 2022. The time is now, and the time is the next second that we are engaging in. So would you do you have anything specific in regards to this? Because your statements are in abstract form. We need to do. You are talking like a consultant. They are the ones telling us we need to do, but nothing specific.
Well, for instance, I'll choose to answer you using coffee. Coffee is one of those premium products that are valued very much, and processed coffee fetches a premium price in the market. But the farmer here in Kenya gets just peanuts. I addressed that the biggest problem we have is the chain between the farmer and the market. Now, if it was up to me, I would link the farmer directly to the market. Currently, I've been researching in the coffee industry, and I have seen ways by which we can do that. Technology has made the world a global village. What we need to do is to invest in extension officers who not only advise the farmer on farming methods, but also on how to do agribusiness with the farming that they do. Get them the information they need. Get them to realize that the government, if they vote right, is there to serve them. And then everything will just flow. Now, that's about coffee, which is the same thing that should happen with regards to the sugar belt. The biggest problem with the sugar industry in Kenya is that we liberalized our market to a point where sugar from anywhere can come into our market. And so whatever sugar we produce in Kenya cannot compete. What we need to do is to protect our farmer by ensuring that whatever arrangements we have are not to a point where they disadvantage our farmer. We do not have to import sugar beyond our East African region. That is something, if I was in office, I would ensure happens, because I do not have to sing someone's melody. Just by a presidential directive with advice from parliament, that can get done. But it won't happen today because those in office depend on those people importing sugar to sustain their lavish lives. I don't know if I got you clearly, but then this just speaks to priority and then having the interest of the farmer at heart, which is what I'm about.
All right. Thank you. Abok, I hope, was it satisfactory? Abok, you are satisfied? All right. So anyway, we can move. We can move then if Abok is satisfied. Abok, you are satisfied on agriculture. Remember, we were actually discussing about agriculture yesterday, and this is a very important topic. Huh? Are you satisfied?
Yeah, I'm saying for the sake of time, I would want maybe on a later date or a later time, we engage with Mheshimiwa on this, because this really is a very pertinent issue to our economy, and it is close to my heart as a book. Yeah, so not just now, I'll allow it to pass for now.
We'll bring you Muthiora back to talk about specifically agriculture, because it's of our nation, right? So let me go to Alphonse. Alphonse, and after Alphonse, about that topic about opportunities, I want to move quickly on health. But Yeah, let's move.
I don't know where to start. But ideally, if I had enough time, I would have addressed three key things. One, I would have addressed the issue to do with corruption. And two, I would have addressed the issue to do with unemployment. Three, I would have addressed things to do with what I call basic social services. And because that time may not be there for us, welcome Mheshimiwa Muthiora Kariara to the show.
Thank you, Alphonse.
Not long ago, we were here with your immediate boss, Dr. Jeff, and he did very well for us. And we are hopeful that we have a society ahead of us, and we have leaders now that are coming in you. But
thank you.
It is an asset to be a youth, but it's also a disadvantage to be a youth. So I want you to get it from that point, so that I'm coming. I want to ask you brief questions, and you answer me briefly. And that is in the interest of a leadership must also follow instructions. So don't be elaborate in the brief situations. That test is a part of test of your capacity as a leader in your youthful stage. So this is where I go. Unemployment. When we say we have 40% unemployment, in brief, what does that mean in your understanding?
Well, it means that 4 out of 10 people who are willing and ready to partake of work cannot find work. That's what that means.
Thank you. Now, I want to give you a scenario where 4 out of 10 times people who are not employed get a job. And 4 out of 10 people who need the job get a job. Of those two, which one is 40% unemployment, or 60? So rather, 40% employment. Can I repeat it?
Yes, please.
1, 4 out of 10 people get job opportunities. They get to be employed. Those who require jobs are 10. 4 of them get the job. And 2, those who need the job, 4 times out of every 10 attempts, they get the job, however temporary that job is. Of those two, which one is 40% employment?
The latter.
Now, the basic reason why I'm asking the question is not that I need an accurate answer from you. I'm testing your IQ. But the issue of unemployment, from where I sit, I'm a labor policy consultant, is that if you don't understand the thing, you may not address it effectively. And my question is to feed into your preparation for your next campaign and your next way of leading us in that space of unemployment, because definitely it's an issue you're going to address.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought I should just raise for you. But then I go to corruption. Is corruption a societal issue that happens at all stages, or is it something that only happens with elites in our society?
Corruption is two-way. To the little people in Kenya, corruption often arrives as extortion. So I would say it doesn't quite qualify to be called corruption. But then amongst the elite, which is people who can afford not to engage in corruption, but do so because it benefits them, that's outright corruption. So we need to make a distinction. To some, it arrives as extortion, but to others, they do it to further themselves, taking advantage of the system.
You are our leader who want to solve our national problems, and one of the national problems is corruption. Are you going to address corruption as a societal problem or as an elitist problem? That's my question.
It's a societal problem.
So how will you handle corruption at a school level? Both your understanding and a brief solution.
Number one, it's through information, imparting knowledge so that it's clear from a very young age what right is and what wrong is. And then from that point going forward, you put in place mitigation measures. And then after you do that, you ensure there is a way to enforce that. And then have punitive measures to make sure that those who depart from the agreed set of conduct are dealt with.
Okay, let me put it this way. From us at a school, in a school community, using illustration, give me an example of how corruption happens in that situation and how you will deal with that one.
Well, in a simple way, in class, a class monitor may choose not to report all noisemakers because some of them are their friends. They think it's the right thing to do to spare their friends. But then if it was explained to them, if they were taught to understand that a wrong is a wrong, no matter what, they wouldn't do that. So when you choose people for positions, starting from that very lower level, you need to explain what responsibilities are lumped on those in positions of leadership, and also make sure that the subjects also get it right. So like I told you, it's all about knowledge and information. And of course, those who are there, you reward them and you punish those who go against.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Basic social services. And here I'm talking about, let me give a few examples: medical services, water and sanitation. So water services, sewerage services and such. Energy, that is electricity inclusive. Public transport. These things are supposed to be available to everyone, affordably to all, whether they are able or not able. As a president or deputy president and the presidential office in this country, you need to ensure that every Kenyan get these benefits. Now, I first want just use one of them to get your understanding. When I talk of public transport, what do you understand by that?
By public transport, I understand that a government needs to provide an infrastructure to move people from one point to another. And by infrastructure, I would wish to say it doesn't just end at roads and bridges. We need vehicles as well. So in Kenya, I can basically say we do not have a public service system. So if it was up to me, I would work with the private sector to ensure that we have a functional public service. You see, like the trains we have, we would have buses like we had back in the day, so that people can have a wider pool to choose from.
So how will the private sector provide public services? In that
by complementing what the government cannot deliver.
I think I want you to go and address that very well, because the reason why we don't have public services is because we have private services taking over what used to be public. Now, in my issue that I want you to go with, I said I will be very brief, and thank you for being very brief. I'm very happy with that. In this issue of basic social services, currently we have a problem of water, yet we have another problem of water. We have excess water to the extent that we have shortage of water. Yeah. We have people in my village are actually affected by floods. Water supply in Nairobi is cut off because the water reservoirs are full. Electricity has a problem because all our hydroelectric power dams are higher than capacity, so we have no enough supply of electricity. Explain your understanding of this paradox, and you as a presidential office holder or part of that package of the presidential office holder, you are going to handle that issue of electricity alone, and then after that I will handle one thing, and then I hand over to Patrick.
Well, in order to provide these services, you need infrastructure, and over time our investment in infrastructure has been inadequate. That's why in the face of oversupply of certain elements, we are not able to cope. What we needed to do was to ramp up investment in our infrastructure so that given the shocks we're experiencing, we are able to adapt. So that capacity is what we need to enhance so that we can take advantage of enhanced delivery of the element.
Yeah, now your responses are youthful, eh? And me I'm a bit straight, you know, this is my role in the show, that I bring issues the way they should be brought for the sake of shaping our panel, our guests, because we want to get the best out of our guests. Now, the following are things that I've picked from your responses. One is that you need to understand the key issues from a technical perspective. And because you will not be a technical personnel in all areas, you will definitely need technical people in different areas to make your team complete. Now, your responses indicate that there's a shortage in that area in your team, because once you are well briefed, you can easily respond to that. So that is one. Two, we have hope in leadership of the youth, and we must back every young person who has an ambition like you. So count on us. But count on us does not mean we will vote you unless we are satisfied. Count on us means we want to support you. Please satisfy us. We will do so, because then you don't have any other person who can back you up. So based on the things I've shared, I want you to sharpen your vision based on what are the technicalities, so that when you are on the table of technical people, you are able to respond from a technical perspective. When you meet the layman, you're also able to respond from a layman's perspective. So I am very grateful for your time, and I know we will meet next time in the show. We will come back. We'll hear you more. We expect you to be at a higher level than today, but definitely today you are at a higher level than the last time you impressed us when you are talking as part of the deputy presidential debate. Thank you very much. Keep it up. Those who are looking at you and saying that you can't make it, they are part of the society that you lead. Those who are encouraging you, there will be fewer, but they are the people that will propel you to go where you are going. Don't lose hope. Don't stop where you are. Move on.
Thank you very much, Alphonse, for that. I'll maybe take you. So I want to move this conversation to health, but specifically the future of our health systems, especially now that we have COVID-19 crisis, what that means for us. So guys, ask questions specifically about the future, not necessarily any other part of our health system. All right, so let's move. So I can start with Sarah, and then we go to Dennis. Yeah, and then we go around like that.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mheshimiwa. I'm really glad to be among you today and to get to listen to a lot of input that you brought to the table. Now, on matters health, Mheshimiwa, I want to bring a very big issue that happens in our society, and most of the times I don't hear anybody addressing it. So I'll try as much as possible to be a little bit brief. I have a background of health. At the moment, I can say that we do not have midwives in Kenya. A very important aspect of our health, because women generally use a very huge proportion of the healthcare system just by the way our physiological processes are. Now, I would appreciate if you let me know, or if you let women in particular understand that you have our back when it comes to giving birth, because right now we take all our pregnancies to the hospitals, whereas pregnancy is not a disease. Therefore, we are not respected in the way that the integrity of birthing is supposed to be respected. Number two, I would wish that you address matters accountability. Now that I've been in Kenya for some time, I've realized that our governments fail because they are not held accountable. We find that having worked in a maternity, money is given by the government to buy food for these expectant mothers. but somebody somewhere in between there takes all the money, and all that is available to these women is a cup of porridge. That is painful enough. Now, what measures do you have, or does your party hold for us in order that you can hold the party accountable? So maybe I'll stop there for now as you address me on that, Mheshimiwa.
All right. Muthiora, you can proceed.
Well, I'll start with the second issue. Thank you very much for your input, Sarah. It's very helpful. Now, corruption. I have said it in almost every forum where I have appeared that I have a zero level of tolerance towards corruption, because corruption for me was a thing of the wonderful dreams that I had. The struggles I have had to overcome would not have been necessary had corruption been eliminated from my journey. So, to ensure that our people, those mothers who seek services in government facilities, get the best value, everyone who works for government must adopt that policy where we tolerate no corruption at all. If we do that from the lowest level all the way to the top office, then our people will get value for whatever services that the government provides. Now, on the other issue with regard to midwives, I know we took a shift in the 70s with regard to the way that we approach maternal health care in this nation. But then over time, things have been changing, and we've been training more midwives. Attention had been given to nurses. Then over time, people have realized that we need to change the way that we approach this issue, and the numbers have been growing. Personally, I'm part of an organization that seeks to return dignity to our mothers. I've been working with a non-governmental organization called Shifa and Poor, and through that platform, we've been lobbying for the government to take the right action. And I believe with our agitation and consultation with them, they'll adopt whatever proposals that will cascade to them as we get them from those who seek services in these government facilities. So you can be sure that TGN will be in the front line fighting for dignity to be returned to our mothers.
All right. I hope, Sarah, you are satisfied with this answer for the future of healthcare.
I'm actually very encouraged and expect to see a change in this particular part of our society that is very important. I am very encouraged by the fresh wave of a youthful lookout for us. And yes, what I would like you, though, to add a little bit is I want to hear what you'll do to the MOH. I want to hear what you're going to do to the current nurses. I want to hear what you're going to do about the fact that we don't have a midwifery center, we don't have a midwifery school in Kenya, and how you're willing to work with the midwives that were flown to Australia and so many other places because they did not have a home in Kenya. So I'm willing, again, I say, I am open to working with you and putting, helping you put a functional system to that, you know, your campaign or your party can, you know, put forward for the society.
Amazing. Good. Thank you very much, Sarah. I hope you can respond, Muthiora.
Yeah, sure. I'll get back to you with the specifics with regard to the questions that you just asked, but then get it from me in this way, that mother who seeks maternal service at a government facility is not a stranger. It's my sister. It's my neighbor. It's my brother's wife. So with that kind of touch, given an opportunity to serve, I would ensure that they get nothing but the best. And this is very different from the leaders we have in office today who their relatives can afford to go to private facilities. They can afford to fly them abroad to seek those specialized services from those prestigious institutions. So if you believe in me and we work together to change the way that our people approach governance and realize that there is a lot of power in the vote that we hold, then we can change one person at a time. An institution that never used to feel what the people go through can be the one that provides a solution for those very people. But this is only possible if people who understand, people like you, come together, we join hands, and we move forward as a team with the vision of making Kenya a great nation.
Thank you very much, Muthiora, for that. All right, so maybe I want to mention the link is just on the comment box. Rala Abuya is asking, so you can just scroll the comment and then you can get the link. Also, those who are on the backstage, you get an opportunity to ask your questions, so don't worry. So I want maybe before I go to Dennis, let me bring Graf. Graf has been on the backstage for long. I'm glad you are here. Maybe bring your perspective up to where we have reached quickly and brief. And again, you can ask your question about the future of our healthcare, specifically that future.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mheshimiwa.
Good evening.
Yeah, first I say that I'm glad to see you and to get a chance, to hear how you are tabling your issues as a young and energetic leaders, of which I think that we need that freshness, because what happened is that the air of leadership and politics in our country have been polluted for a very long time. Say that we keep on revolving round. The one that we throw yesterday is the one that we pick today, and that is why we are lacking direction. Even though I think most of the things that you answered in a very genuine way, in a very honest way, but the problem in our country is that these things people don't know. When we talk of health sector, we know that we need, to equip our hospitals, to equip our health facilities. When we talk of agriculture, we know that we need to equip our farmers. But the problem becomes when it comes to implementation, the power to act, the force to make it happen. That is what we lack. Because like this Jubilee regime, for example, I'm giving you, they came with a lot of promises. They talk of stadiums, they talk of irrigations, they talk of, until, we were very optimistic that Kenya will change within a short period of time. But when it comes to implementation, that is where the problem lies. So my question is, you as a leader, if you are given a mandate to become a president or a principal advisor of the president, that is a deputy president, how are you going to account for all the leaders, starting from the grassroots level to the highest office, who gave the promises during the campaign? How are these people constitutionally supposed to be held accountable for every promise that is supposed to deliver? And second question is, the leaders who we elect in office, they have their portfolios. As a president, you know what your job description is. When you go and be telling the citizens that I will make a good hospital, that I will make the road, that is exactly what you are expected as a head of state to do. So we expect promises, like in terms of innovation, like you are going to, to increase innovation, but things like infrastructure, that is a mandate of the government, and it is not a plus for any politician. It is not a plus. It is actually within your job description. you know. So what maybe you'll be telling us so that we know that you understand your job description very well. But it is not, you know, it is not something new that you say you are bringing on board when you say you know you will increase the number of youth employment, because that is exactly what you are expected to do as a head of state. Now, the problem that we have is only one key, that is the corruption. And everybody will say that I will fight corruption, I will crush corruption, I will be very serious about corruption. Yes, all those, everybody will be singing that. But how are you intending to do it? Because people who you will meet there, they are not angels from heaven. Most of them, majority of them, they are the beneficiaries of the same corruption. So going to deal with them overnight, it is a nightmare and it is nearly impossible. So what is the new mechanism that you think that you will do that has never been done before? How are you going to deal? Because when you deal with corruption, you already open all the chances of development in the country. When you finish corruption, we have enough medicine in hospitals. We have enough money to put on our roads. We have enough money to make a lot of factories and create employment. Now the problem is corruption. But how are you going to do it? How are you going to deal with it? Because everybody is saying when Kibaki came, he was singing corruption. Even it reached a point where civilians themselves, they were armed in tears, going to arrest traffic officers, you know, saying that we are helping the president to fight corruption. But what was the end of the story? The same regime that we are having, it is the same, they are showering in corruption. So you are alone among the, 47 million Kenyans and people who they will be in your cabinet. They are not angels. They are not from another planet. They are the same that we see. How are you going? Which mechanism are you bringing on board that you think that is new and it is a new method that you will deal with corruption? Thank you.
Thank you, Griff, for your great questions. All right, and your perspective also. So, Muthiora, you can go forward.
Yeah, I am a firm believer in the rule of law, and clearly you can see a huge difference between the kind of a president I would make with the one that we currently have. Our current president is chaperone to a system that gleefully supports impunity. Take, for instance, the Miguna case. We have a number of injunctions providing about how Miguna should be handled. But to date, they have never respected those court orders. And yet, these are the very people we expect to fulfill on their promise to fight corruption. You see, oil and water do not mix. For me, on matters integrity, I do not compromise. That's why in my circle of friends, in my circle of business associates, you won't find someone whose character is tainted. So given an opportunity, I would know how to work with people who are used to cutting shortcuts. And that is, let's just respect the law. Kenyans are not corrupt. It's just that we have normalized corruption. So it's okay for me to give a bribe to get out of a sticky situation. But if you have a leader who's leading from the front saying that it is wrong for you to do that, then people will have a shift. This is my way of life. I'm not young, but for as far as I have come, I have remained upright. And I'm not alone. In fact, there are at least 4 people in this panel today who are my friends, who ascribe to the very same school of thought that I'm talking about here. So Kenya is not short of these people who uphold integrity.
Sorry, Muthiora, we lost you. I'm sorry about that. All right.
A lot of Okay.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Muthiora. It seems your network has started to have some issues. Let me try to fix it. All right. Sorry, guys. Let me try to fix it. All right. Maybe we can continue the conversation as he comes back. I can go to Dennis. Dennis, you can continue.
Thank you so much for affording me another opportunity, and Graf Elvis, thank you for honoring my invitation to be here. This is a very good show, and as you've seen and heard, a lot of pertinent issues that are affecting us are being discussed here. All right, is he back? Can I proceed?
He still has some issues. I'm trying to.
So talk of he's addressed himself to issues corruption, but in Kenya, corruption has become a way of life, and I'm still waiting to hear from him what unique is likely to do to deal with this issue of corruption. But I've not had that unique thing that he will do that others have not done before, because we've been treated to a lot of talking. Every other time we have leaders vying for top seat, political seats, they tell us a lot of stories. We've been told zero tolerance to corruption. I mean, we are used to that. It is normal. Issues of merit when it comes to accessing job opportunities, that is also corruption, has been very rampant. Even the people or the political figures that have been nominated to office have been nominated not because of merit. They have been nominated because they are girlfriends to some political figures somewhere and such kind of things. So going into the health sector, and that is what you wanted us to direct our focus on. Corruption is also inherent there. May I say, sometimes when I go to hospital and the Ministry of Health facilities in my county or in our respective counties become like receptions to private clinics that are surrounding the hospitals. So if you just go there, they tell you to buy a booklet, they write your name, and then they send you for medicine. So basically, there is no difference between our health facilities or public health facilities and the witchcraft. Because if they do not have medicine, they only have empty boxes and the booklets to write your name. So what are they doing? Because an hospital without medication, basically translates to, they are practicing witchcraft. Because if you go to a witch doctor, it is the same thing, so there is no big difference. So in my view, corruption needs to be addressed from the root, not just saying you will, sack people, chase them from work and such kind of things. This is a problem that has been with us from independence. The founding fathers of our nation are also founding fathers of corruption. So there are those that have already benefited from corruption, and those are the ones that are at rooftops telling us to stop corruption today because they've already benefited. Those that are in offices, including those, including the governors or the leaders that we've elected to be in charge of the health docket, because now that is a devolved function is under county government. Before they are elected, we the electorate are the problem. We demand to be bribed so that we can elect them. So if that is the parameter, that we consider, or that is, the what we consider before we elect them, that they must get money regardless of where they get the money from. And so we have leaders who are entrepreneurs. I mean, they are investors. They have invested in leadership, or they have invested by giving us we vote for them, and later we begin complaining that these leaders are not doing this and that for us, are not giving us the services that we need. But in the real sense, we are the problem. So if we are to address corruption, we must not address, it doesn't mean we address those that are already in office. Those that are in office are our products, we the masses that elected them. So we must address a solution, a societal solution to the masses, as opposed to addressing isolated fellas that have been involved in one or two scandals, while forgetting that the root cause of such kind of leadership that is rotten is we, the electorate. So it must begin with us. And again, corruption being a better option. If I'm arrested by the police today, even me, even you, Mr. Muthiora, I'm telling you, going through the proper process is elaborate and is costly and is time consuming and wasting. So the best shortcut in Kenya, if you are to be given the two options, obviously the best option is to give a policeman 200 and you are spared and you go about your business. So there is also the aspect of balancing the equilibrium, so that Kenyans can choose which is which. Because if you go through the justice system, sometimes it takes too long. It is so involving, it is so agonizing, it is so taxing and all that. So if you pay 200 and you tell me to go to court 10 years before justice is delivered, I'd rather give 200, I buy justice over the counter, and then I go mind my own business. So there is also, I would like to hear more on how we can make corruption an option that Kenyans would not take, or me as Oseko would not take. And then addressing corruption from the root cause, addressing issues of vulnerability, because most of Kenyans that are being bribed are also vulnerable. When you do not have a job, when you're sick, you're vulnerable. Those such kind of situations make you vulnerable. If, for instance, I'm sick, I go to the hospital, it is the governor that is supposed to ensure that there is medicine there. But you have to go to their homes, to their offices, beg them to give you some assistance, and then when they assist you, you think they are the saviors. So the issues of vulnerability could be also another issue that I would prefer probably you to address. But because of those that are at backstage, kindly allow me to step back and give room to another person so that I can be listening to what Mheshimiwa is going to say. But I really appreciate. And the Wekesa is not, no, this is Alphonse. I really want to, appreciate you. I'd like to know you and follow you. That was a very good challenge, Mheshimiwa. And I also like to learn more from you. Thank you so much, Mr. Patrick.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you. Look forward to see you again.
All right. Thank you. I'm right in studio at the backstage.
Okay, good. All right. So, Mheshimiwa, maybe respond to what Dennis said.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Your input today has shed a lot of light, especially to certain insights that I've had, reaffirming that indeed whatever solutions we've been looking for as a nation are right here with us. Now, with regard to corruption, I've told you there's no two ways about it. Number one, you must respect the rule of law. As a nation, in 2010, we gave ourselves a constitution after a very rigorous process. Whatever came out of that constitution is not up for debate. If you're Kenyan, if you do business in Kenya, you must adhere to our laws. You must adhere to our regulations. So you go to the left or to the right of that, you are to face the full wrath of the law. Sometimes it's painful and you might be tempted to find a way out of your situation. If it was up to me, I would ensure that whatever institutions we have are well resourced so that they would not make an excuse that they were unable to fulfill a duty because they did not have the funds to do that. Now, I'm looking at a scenario where when we go into the next election cycle, we will get a majority in the House. That's both the National Assembly and the Senate. So pushing a bill will not be a problem. Now, should we achieve that, then it's going to be easy for us to be able to structure the way that we spend. And I can assure you, we will put money where it will deliver the most value. We have the EACC, we have the Office of the DCI, we have the ODPP, we have the judiciary. Yes, resources are scarce, but if we want value, we must prioritize. And these are institutions that need to be well funded. But beyond that, we must ensure that those officers who are charged with the responsibility of delivering to the public do that. If they fail to, then we must get them to account. And that said, I'll take you back to where I started, and that is you must be mindful of the people you put in office. I am not corrupt. I am incorruptible. So also are my associates and friends, the people who hold me to account, ascribe to those very high levels of integrity. So you can be sure that in my administration, and this will be demonstrated from the way we run TGN, we will have people whose character is beyond reproach, people who are committed to moving this nation forward. So if you recruit right, if you resource those people and set clear, measurable, time-bound goals, then obviously getting the job done will be an easy thing. And I believe this is possible because Kenyans, if led in a proper way on the right path, give their goodwill very easily. Now, just to describe something, currently we have these curfew, and a lot of people are getting caught out. And the option is you either go to quarantine, you receive a beating, or you give a bribe. What most Kenyans are doing is they are opting to beat the curfew. But then there are those, for reasons beyond them, find themselves out there. What the government needs to do is to be friendly enough and understanding to provide a way for those who find themselves on the other side of the law to be processed quickly so they do not have to be extorted. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you very much, Muthiora. That's really good how you address it. So I want to bring Kevin to ask a question in terms of healthcare, especially how we move from this crisis and the future. Kevin is a young man who really uses technology to address that issue, healthcare. Maybe Kevin, now you can ask your question.
Okay, thank you, Mheshimiwa. Patrick, can you hear me clearly now?
I can hear you, Kevin.
All right, I have a brief comment on public health. Mheshimiwa Kariara, first of all, are you in Kenya right now, or you're somewhere else in another country?
I'm in Kenya.
Okay, which is better? Because the other day we were discussing something about public health and with the current coronavirus pandemic and how we are supposed to move forward in the future. We realized that there is this phrase that we've been having for a long time and people have not been taking it seriously, and it says, prevention is better than cure. So in that regard, we need to be doing something called medical checkups, which clearly in Kenya we do not do regularly. So my question is, in terms of public health, how are you going to put a plan to make sure that ordinary Kenyans can get regular medical checkups without having to wait to fall sick before going into a public hospital? And just in line with that, I wanted to ask you another question, Mheshimiwa. Do you have a temperature thermometer in your house?
Well, I'm an honest person, and I'll answer you that the thermometer I've had in the house is currently broken, but I have always made it a habit to have one in the house because that's how members in the household know when there's an infection or not, so you can know what next step to take.
That is
now,
very
with regard, yeah, but of course I'm going to get it fixed. It's something that I have to have from time to time. And even like right now, I walk with a sanitizer wherever I go, besides the mask. So these are just some of those things that we all need to exercise at all times. Now, the other thing about what you just said with regard to health, health is a devolved function. Why it hasn't worked well for us so far is because we had the national government refusing to allow funds to follow the function. You remember they even procured equipment for counties, equipment that counties were ill prepared to utilize. Now, as someone who uses public health facilities, I know that we need to fund counties properly and hold them to account so they can deliver to the people. Prevention is better than cure. So we are better off if we ensure that that citizen does not come to our health facility for treatment for conditions that could have been managed at home. You remember we even had a conversation here with regard to our mothers. When they get pregnant, they're not sick, but the way that our system is designed, they end up in hospital mixing with sick people and sometimes get infected. As someone who understands how things should be done, I would ensure that we fund the counties properly and adopt a structure that addresses the situation exactly as it is by following the advice that's provided by the experts. Always bearing in mind that it's better for us to prevent an outbreak from happening rather than trying to treat it once it's with us.
All right, thank you. And just to add on to that, I think it would be prudent for your future government to think about implementing some policies that can set up, departments of health and environment, because we're talking about prevention, which is better than cure. So then we need to find ways to make the environment clean in order to prevent infections. And I also wanted to bring in another perspective of the doctor-patient ratio. How are you going to deal with this? Because currently we are in a big mess, and we are not able to get effective treatment because First of all, we don't even do regular checkups. The reason why we don't do regular checkups is because in my entire life, I've met a doctor like maybe once my entire life. I have actually met a real doctor, treated by a real doctor, maybe once in my entire life. What does that say about the doctor-patient ratio in Kenya? In some countries that are quite advanced, somebody or a family is like they have a doctor who they go to when they have issues. There's nothing like that in Kenya, all right? And then maybe as a leader, we can learn a few lessons from Cuba and the way they revolutionized their medical care, and maybe pick a few lessons from that. Right now, Cuba have been awarded, a Nobel Peace Prize. I think they've been nominated for helping the world fight coronavirus and the pandemic by exporting their medical personnel to Italy, for example, and to other parts of the world to help fight the corona pandemic. What plans do we have as Kenyan leaders to, one day be able to reach that level? Thank you.
All right, Muthiora, you can respond.
Yeah, my approach is this: as someone who consumes public health service, we need to decommercialize health. I know pharmaceutical side, big business, but for a country that's developing like Kenya, the government needs to go big on that sector. Our insurance, you can imagine the National Health Insurance Fund benefits private facilities more than it does the public facilities. Why? Because it's a scheme that was developed to help private individuals to pay. I know this, and I know that that's not right. So given an opportunity to make that right, I would not hesitate. That's why I would be urging you to relook at the way we approach everything. We put people who do not deserve into office, people who do not understand what the issues really are. Personally, I am alive because I was lucky in the year 2011 to have a qualified neurosurgeon operate on me. A lot of other Kenyans have not had that opportunity. And yet, they would be the people building this nation today. I would wish to extend that opportunity to every Kenyan, just by virtue that they are Kenyans and they deserve better. So, do not limit yourself that we do not have the resources. I believe we do. Cuba did it. We have imported doctors from Cuba, when in fact we have over 1,000 doctors in Kenya who are unemployed. I'm glad after the pandemic, the government has moved in to recruit those doctors who were out there and could not find work. But then we need to go bigger. We need to invest more. In the East African region, Kenya is a medical hub. People fly from Dar es Salaam, from Mwanza in Tanzania, to come to Kenyatta National Hospital because they believe they'll get better service here. We need to focus on investing more in our health sector, training, the facilities, and in the preventive care that needs to go into the communities so we manage situations before they blow out. And besides that, in Africa, I have a vision where besides the 180 million members of the East African community, we can be a hub for health tourism. People go to India, but people from the African region and even globally can look to Kenya for a solution. I remember when I was growing up, hearing big tales about doctors such as Professor Obel, who was then famed to have done a lot of research in seeking cure for HIV and AIDS. Leave that aside. Go back to our communities. We had these herbalists. To date, if you go to the Kikuyu folklore, you'll hear about names such as Mugo, Wakibiru, etc. That's how entrenched our knowledge in medicine is. We need to tap back to our roots and provide a solution, not just for us, but for this entire continent as well.
Okay.
But we have to think big. And we have the brains, we have the expertise, and history is in our favor.
Great. Thank you very much, Muthiora. That's amazing how you answered this question. Really love that. So, guys, I really think now we get to the end of this session. So I want you guys to give your perspective, maybe the last remarks in this session and in this topic about today. And then after that, I'll give Muthiora his last maybe opportunity, maybe to talk to Kenyan youth and also address the future. Where do the youth go from here? So I'll start with Grace. Grace, you can give your final remarks in this whole conversation tonight.
I don't have much to say because I wasn't following, I was doing something, but I have to say thank you, Muthiora, for coming out. I didn't expect to find you guys here. It seems you were discussing something which was very important, and thank you so much, Muthiora. I think you should host him again. I think it should be like coming up maybe once a week, because I think that's how many people are going to know him, and you see he has a good future for young people in Kenya and generally Africa. So for me, my final remarks is that Muthiora, continue what you are doing. We are here to support you to make sure you realize what you want to achieve for our country and the continent. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Grace.
Thank you. That one has been taken. We need Muthiora back. Everyone is saying we need you back to address one issue at a time. So that's a demand from the young people. All right.
And by the way, I was to say this. I don't know how you sourced the panel, but it's amazing. Actually, there is the gentleman who asked me those quick fire questions, and Dennis and Alphonse. Grace, you guys are just amazing. I have to say that up front. I would love to be able to quench whatever thirst of knowledge with regard to Kenyan issues that you want to get out of me.
Yes, great. This is a network of Kenyan big minds we are building. So we really love that. So I want to go to Graf. Graf, you can maybe give your final remarks on this whole discussion tonight. I'm sorry, Graf. Let me unmute your mic.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, Honorable Muthiora, we are very grateful, and we have seen your ability, your capacity, and we think that by continuing building this, capacity and education and getting to, interact with different levels of, Kenyans, you get to learn more and equip yourself more, so that when you are sent to that leadership, at least you are, well equipped. The only thing that, about that question that I asked before of the corruption, I think, there is two ways, either for we discipline or policies. Because when you have, a formidable policies, it doesn't matter who occupy that office, there can be no avenue of corruption. Because, it doesn't mean that Africans or Kenyans, we are cultured to be corrupt. Why are Europe not corrupt? Sometimes you ask yourself, is it our culture? Is it in our genes that Africans, we are just naturally corrupt? It's not that. It is because of the weak policies. Because when you have a weak policies, no matter who you put there, at least they will mess up. So, but when you have a good policies, a formidable policies, no matter who is occupying that office, the policies cannot allow any avenue of the corruption. And the key to success in our country is only corruption. Because you cannot get resources, you cannot build resources, you cannot build capacity when there is corruption. you cannot equip the hospital. The only key first, and that is why, as you are, thriving to, to get the power, just focus on how you will fight corruption. Only that is the pillar. And another thing that maybe next time you need to address is about, our foreign relations and, diplomatic, our embassies abroad, how they are assisting Kenyans, because we have had Kenyans going abroad and, they are suffering. There are a lot of cases, different cases. There are those that they're languishing in prisons. There are those that, they are being mistreated by the employers. There are those that they are stranded. And we have seen, foreign missions doing very little. They have, most of the Kenyans, when they travel outside the country, it's like they have lost their rights. They don't get any help, any assistance. So that is also another aspect that you'll be focusing, so that at least when you get another opportunity, you will be telling us how you will, make sure that you will be taking care of Kenyans even whenever they travel abroad. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Graf, for that. So I want to move to Sarah. Sarah, you can give your last perspective.
Yeah, thank you very much, Patrick. Thank you, Muthiora, for having me. I really got to learn a lot from the table. I have quite a lot of things. This is my first time to come to this panel, and I can say that I don't regret doing it. And given the opportunity, I'll do it again. Now, first of all, Muthiora, can I applaud you for the fact that when so many people rather see that you should have gone for a lower level, not really lower level, but a much lower sit, maybe an MC or something, you have stood firm to say that you refuse the youth, you refuse the young people to be reserved for third-class leftovers. So I really, really applaud you for that and encourage you to keep on. And you are such a beam of light. There's only one presidential seat, but so many seats, so many leaders, millions and millions across the world. So wherever you are, remember that you are a leader and it's an obligation to make a change. So I'm very much encouraged. I support you. I want you to run on. And yes, it is possible. Many people have brought up the whole issue of President Barack Obama having become president after going through a certain kind of stage from down there to up here. That is his life. You have your own life to lead, and you have your own course and obligations to do in this world. So, and if I can be asked, President Baraka became a president against odds. He had a different terrain and different challenges from what you have. So keep the focus. I'm very encouraged. Definitely, whatever you need is right around you. Now, having said that, I also appreciate that you are holding the back of women, including I and so many others. And you have such a beautiful platform for us. And I'm hoping that each and every woman out there can hear that there is a group of young people with freshness that are willing to give us a good and a better future. And so we need to back Honorable Muthiora Kariara's back. Now, on the issue about immigration, I'm a Canadian and also a Kenyan citizen. And we most of the time feel like, having stayed abroad for over 20 years, 30 years, merging back into the society becomes a little bit challenging because life is very dynamic. So we would appreciate if you have a platform for us where we are able to come back and tell you how our mindsets are, what has happened out there, and how we need to be merged back into the society, or what we have that we can also give to our motherland. Because at the end of the day, home is best. Watch on accountability, immigration, corruption, and so many other things. And yes, you can make it. Yes, you can make it. Yes, it's possible.
Wow, amazing. Amazing. Okay, good. So let's go to Kevin. Kevin, you can offer your last parting shot. Kevin?
Thank you so much. And the second time, I don't want to waste a lot of time, but I want to encourage.
Kevin, I'm sorry. You can programs. Can you
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you are good. Wekesa also try to solve your program, and then you will come. You are next, actually. So, Kevin, you can.
Okay, I was going to say, Honorable Kariara, thank you so much for what you've done today. We feel very encouraged. And we know that you got our back, so we want to also tell you that we got your back as well. And I have interacted with Jeff Kaluyu, who I like to presume is kind of your boss. And I think I would like you to keep working together. Honorable Kaluyu is so outgoing. I helped him personally with his own technical issues here and there. And I think I really liked the passion. I really like the energy that he possesses. And then now that I've met you, I can confirm that the two of you are a perfect match. Right now is not the time for you to begin showing us what we are experiencing now with every other duo of politicians in Kenya. We would like you to, in the next presidential election, we would like you to maintain the same image of consistency, and then we will be able to, support you better. We'll be able to move forward together. So thank you so much for what you've been able to do. And the future of young Kenyans is bright in your hands. We would like to pursue this together. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Kevin. So maybe we can go to Alphonse as Wekesa comes back to give his parting shot.
Honorable Muthiora, thank you for coming to the show. A couple of things in a very short time that I want to raise. One is that definitely you deserve a chance to be back to the show. This platform is to build each and every young person. We want to build Kenya for Kenyans, youth for youth. And we are not begging for space. We are creating the space. And some of us have had that chance, like the one you're saying, every fortnight you go to the mainstream media. But a big number of Kenyans who have big ideas have never gotten that chance. So we are creating this space specifically to create a new Kenya for the Kenyans who are driving Kenya from quarters that we are not able to do much. And I thank you for coming here. Now, quick ones. If you're not writing, or if you have nowhere to write, I will want you to refer to this video because it will be online, both on YouTube and on Facebook, just to get some of the questions. My questions are purely to ensure that I have a greater Muthiora than the one I met or the one I saw before meeting him. So there's this thing we call global politics and global economics. They have a place in our local development and political agenda. So what I want you to look at, I don't know if you have gone through it before, is the structural changes in global economics and politics. Now, this is one thing I want you to go through, and how does it affect us? Because you might have a good agenda, but then you discover there's an existing framework that you cannot fit in, and therefore your ideas cannot fit in, and you become unable to perform, yet you have good ideas. So there's this thing we call post-Washington consensus. It is a set or a framework of policies that controls global policies, particularly in countries like ours and in our continent. What is it? How will it shape your policy direction? Please go and look into that. If you have it, prepare well around that, because that is what initially will direct a lot of your political moves and maneuvers. Number two, as you appeal to people, ensure that you understand what you call segmentation of the people, so that you're able to appeal to a bigger mass in a different way without necessarily changing the tune or story. And I want to give an example. My first degree, I studied agriculture. Now, when I started understanding politics, I discovered that if you want to be a president or a deputy president like you, the way we will deal with farmers who deal with wheat farming, and they are large-scale farmers, with large trucks is totally different from the way you deal with bean farmers, who are very many and sometimes looks inconsequential, but they are the voters. So if you need their votes, but you might need financial support of the wheat farmers, who will want their needs to be protected in 4 years, and then the 5th year they can just leave you alone. But the bean farmers will want you to support. You will find that we congregate around them in the 5th year, and then the 4 years they are left alone. So the political economy of different things, whether it's political economy of education, political economy of agriculture, political economy of specific, so that you understand your politics in those contexts. Patrick asked you a question about health. What is the political economy of health in Kenya? Now, those are the things I want you to go and prepare. And I want you to be, because you have the capacity, you have the ability, and you have the time on your side, I want you to be the most technical presidential or deputy presidential candidate I ever met, and that the Kenya has the best option in you. So that's what I want to leave you with. So otherwise, I am very excited in you. I am hopeful in you, and keep on keeping on. I don't want to say much. I know Kevin is listening to me seriously, so I will not say much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alphonse. Even Graf is concurring with what you are saying. He's saying you are very good political strategist. So maybe Muthiora should look at you. Well, no.
Definitely.
A comment about that from Graf. All right. So let's go to Wekesa. Wekesa, offer your last remarks on this conversation tonight.
Yeah, Muthiora, you have done a good thing, and I like youth who are passionate about what they are doing, who are clear about their life purpose, and they are go-getters. One thing I will revisit with you is just have your own clear strategy on how to achieve it. I will recommend one book for you. It's called the 48 Laws of Power. Sometimes sometimes in your struggle you need to conceal your intentions. I can tell you for free that most of guys at their early age, everybody had the highest ambition to be the president. But the difference comes in how you lay down your strategies and you plan yourself to the echelons of power you are talking about. There are those who will achieve it quickly because of the strategy they have laid, and there are those who will hang because of the approach. I see you are very passionate, but I want you to have an introspection with yourself and see. In the next, you lay down in terms of vision of a 5-year strategic plan and say, in the next 5 years, where do I want to be in terms of my political career? In the next 10 years, and then in the next 20 years, where do I want to be? And you can also choose to chew to bite what you can chew. If you find the resources are limited, then go for what your resources can offer. Because most of the time we try and we know that A does not add up to B, and we find ourselves hanging in between. Our comments are here just for you to reflect upon what you're doing, not exactly to curtail your ambition, but to make you achieve faster what you are planning to do. I have been quite in the forum of many young people who are politically active, and for those who have chosen their strategies well, are already doing well. And to give you an example of this guy, he's called Babu Owino. You know, when he chose to be a member of parliament, right now, if he thinks about governor or being president, it's almost practically possible, because when you win one step, the other things fall in place. You find that you have free media, you have everything starts working for you. So look something that you can exactly put your hand on, and you will move forward very fast. Otherwise, I look forward to interacting you in the political arena on different issues. I have been inspired by your passion and focus on the same. Also in terms of focus in terms of a political party, I would wish that you open up, since you are focused on the presidential ambitions. I will wish that you open up your mantra. It should not be just about youths, because you have to appeal across. There are people who are not youth yet, but they always passionate about issues that affect the youths, or they know that you want to be a president of all Kenyans, not just youth. So when you become presidential, then you open up your view of or your political party is open up to everybody, so that they can work with you together. Otherwise, you're doing a good job, and I appreciate that.
All right, thank you very much. So yeah, so I want to give now Muthiora the platform, and then before even Muthiora finishes, maybe this panel is always full of men. Sarah, you should be coming back most of the time so that you can balance. It's always full of men, so we need a lady to balance this conversation. So Muthiora, now you can take it.
Well, fellow panelists, I'm very thankful for you taking your time to be with us here today. It's been a real pleasure. I have learned so much, and it's special because it came from mostly young people, youthful Kenyans who are believers that as a nation, we can do better. My appeal to you tonight is, let us believe that Kenya can be a great nation. Let us dream of a nation where everyone has an opportunity to make it, as long as they are willing to do the work. It's possible. Join hands with me, together with those who are already out there making a difference. Join TGN, the great nationhood party of Kenya. Visit our website for further details. That's at www.tgn.co.ke. Subscribe, be a member. Let us make Kenya great, one person at a time. Have a good night and stay tuned for more of our programs. Thank you. God bless you.
Oh, amazing. You're a great man. Great future. So anyway, I don't want to say so much, guys. Good night, everyone. That's how we end this show. See you tomorrow for another session, same time. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you, Patrick, and thank you, everyone.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay.
Kupenda ni vitendo, si maneno, yanakupa kitengo kwa kufika malengo. Umesiba mapengo kwa upendo, upora wanazingo, hazini vikao vya selofye. Maana mrembo na kutuza, mama nashukuru umekuza. Shana mapete na kutunza, anamba ujawote na kuza. Inaonyesha isimari, na yo inaonyesha isimari, na yo